worries about me being out the road.
Yeah.
Yes, but my dad said, my dad was that way, about women in transport, that sort of thing. I'm not saying he's sexist, he was just, I'm just a little girl and he was worried about me on the road, you know. But the feedback of how I felt when I was on the road and that sort of thing, he always says to me now, if I had my time over again, I'll take the, class 1. And his mum said, when I passed the Arctic test, she was in the hairdresser at the time, and she was like dead chuffed me because she knew how much I wanted. And she said my dad was more impressed about me passing the Arctic and chuffed than he was when I got my degree. No, and I did really well in my degree, got a 2-1.
Yeah.
And she said the reaction wasn't the same. Just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And but that's initial. Everything's got this stereotype, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like friends, or when you're out in the pub, and people say, "What do you do?" And if I'm driving trucks, it's I drive trucks. Why do you drive trucks? They always have a stereotype that you're going to be like burly or really short hair. This stereotype, Yeah. But there's quite a, when you see a female driver, 9 times out of 10 will clock one another and will just give a smile, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing in it, it's just like, go girl.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Empowering each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, you just do. You just see each other and you think, what you've done to get here,
Yeah.
There's got to be something you've come across at some point, and that men don't.
Yeah, it is male-dominated.
Yeah. Sorry, what was your initial question? I'll try and answer it.
That was just about...
succinct as possible.
It was the facing any barriers, but to be fair, you've covered most of them.
I'll tell you what, though, most recently... Sorry,
I have got one.
Surprisingly enough, I'd never applied for a job in Wales, but up to about a month or so ago, I was going to sell up and move back to Wales, which is where I'm from.
Yeah.
So I had to get a job, Arctic-wise, in there, and I applied for a job in Sandycroft.
Yeah.
Now, the bloke who interviewed me was so innocent what he was saying, but I'm wondering whether there is this, what do you call it? I can't think of the word. It's not stereotype.
Perception?
That's the one. Perception about women drivers. Even though the manager who interviewed me at Sandycroft, he was on about, now have you got kids? Are you planning on having kids? And I looked at him and said, I'm older than I look. I said, and actually got a 20-year-old lad. I said, and I'm not planning on having kids. I can't have any more kids. I said, but how is this relevant to the job? Oh, well, people with kids find it hard with the hours and you have to spend nights away. I said, well, what about the single dads then? I got a job, by the way. Even though I was challenging him back. But, I think he was innocently, and then he kind of knew. Well, I'm not going to say anything about that, but somebody else could have made a big thing about that, because it was just not PC the way he was going on.
Yeah.
It was sexist. And I'll say that is the first time I've come across a boss quite blatantly in your face coming up with a statement like that, thinking it was acceptable to talk that way. So I'm not sure because of the area, because he's from Llangefni.
Yeah.
Near Anglesey, and that's where another depot is there. But he has got female drivers, well, one female driver then, he's had female drivers at Sandycroft as well. And another thing was because they transport chickens. He was asking, how do I feel about that? Am I squeamish? Do I feel any way? I said, well, it's a food chain, isn't it? It's just one of them things. It's a job, as long as they're all right and you respect them, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, going off on a tangent again. That's one thing I've come across. But other than that, I've never had a boss blatantly say no. I have had, though, in the agencies, before the time you could sort of work for a limited company or self-employed prior to that, before that got stopped, because of IR35 and that. when we're going through the agencies, I was finding that I wasn't getting as much work as the men. I was doing just as good a job as the men.
Yeah.
But the men had to support the families. Now, I'm a single woman and I'm running a house by myself with exactly the same mortgage. You know, my family may now be grown up.
Yeah.
But how does that differ from the men? It's happened here, actually.
Because they're the breadwinners.
Yes. So that kind of thing, but that's through the agency. It's not been through the place where you work, and that's just because they've asked me to come back, and I've let the agency know, and they're like, well, we're putting you where you have to go, you know. The customers actually asked me back. So, you know, I had to go to different agencies to find one that wasn't sexist. Yeah. And same thing recently. I thought this job was ending, so I had to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I've got Refuge Place on my doorstep, and there was another in Newcastle. They were screaming out online for drivers, so I went and enrolled at both. They both said they were going to get back to me, didn't. And then people who I've known since have applied for the same job and got jobs, Refuge. So if that's not an obvious thing, there is no other reason why they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, qualification-wise.
Whether that's the agency, whether that's the council, I don't know, because they weren't exactly helpful when you're offering just straight to them. I have many years ago. We're talking about when I was 20, 21. The place, I was living in Wales at the time, and TNT were looking for drivers. My next door neighbours told me that TNT were looking for drivers. So I rung them up and said, look, I've got up to 7.5 ton experience. Oh, I'm sorry, there's no jobs anymore. Yeah, this bloke who works there was telling me that there was. So I thought, that is being a sexist, you know what?
Yeah.
So I got my fella, because I was living with somebody at the time.
Yeah.
Got my fella to ring up. Oh, yes. Please tell me your details and everything. So I said to him, you know, I got my fella to say to my girlfriend's just rung you up and you told her there was no jobs. You know, how sexist is that?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it wasn't like that. You can't get out of that one, can you? You really can't get out of that one. So, yeah, that was many moons ago. So we're talking about almost 20 years ago, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there are little things. But it's saying, if it's this stereotype, and that's probably what stops a lot of women going into it. But at the same time, more I've noticed since I've been a driver, more and more women actually coming in because maybe the word's getting out, or girls are just thinking to themselves, yeah, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
But it's finding the right job too.
Yeah.
You have to find the right hours, right time of day you want to work. Are you right rotating shifts? You know, there's night work, there's day work, there's morning work, there's heavy work, there's totally physical work, there's the shopping work, there's using tailors, not using tailors.
So it's
trunking. Yeah, it's just finding the right thing for you, which actually is quite good in a job. You know, you're finding what suits you best.
Yeah, because that's
what a lot of people don't realise.
Because that's one thing that I sort of was going to ask. How do you find the physical elements of the role?
I find you with where I first worked, it was a lot of heavy lifting to start off with, but then I got super fit through doing it, like I say, for 2 years, because it was multi-drop. It was like, when was it, 13, 14 Asdas, and everything was handball. You'd get the pallets off or pull them off and then pull them all the way around to the store, because obviously it was all timed.
Yeah.
And you talk about 25 kilogram boxes, 10 kilogram. So if you multiply that by 30, by the amount of pallets you're doing, and you're either lifting it up or you're lifting it down and then lifting it back on to get out of the way. So your body does adjust. But bearing in mind, I was in my 20s then.
Yeah.
So I've not really put my body to the test because I've had various operations that I don't want to put it to the test.
Okay.
But in my experience, your body, as long as you're healthy, does adjust.
Yeah.
However, I recently found out I've got a hiatus hernia.